What's up? This is the Bloody Good Time team. I'm Chad. I'm joined by Marcy and Bede. We are doing something fun, something new, just something different, besides our live streams, which you can see on YouTube, the previous games. You can see episode 8, hosted by Marcy on this past episode. And then we have episode 9, 10. I'm not sure when this is going to be put out, but there's plenty of games to see, and they're a whole lot of fun. But Marcy, Bede, how are you?
Hello, I'm
Hello,
doing
everyone.
well, thank you. And hello, Bede. Hello, Chad.
Hello,
Hello.
hello.
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. And looking forward to running down our list and see if there's anything that's similar or not on each of them.
So what we're doing, obviously, this show is called Ranked. We're at the first episode. We're gonna do the top 10, in our opinion, worst remakes. So what we'll do, we'll start with number 10. We'll show the camera, and then we'll talk about it, why we think it's the worst. And then we'll go all the way to 1, but we're scoring them. So the 10th movie for each one of ours is 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, so on, so on. Then at the very end, we will tally up the scores and see who the three worst horror remakes are based on our opinion. So we go our first one, number 10. Show what's our worst remakes.
All right, this is my number 10. Oh, jeez.
Mirrors, Wicker Man, and Pet Cemetery. Why do you not like Mirrors, Bede?
Well, I mean, the original, which was the South Korean horror film called Into the Mirror, was pretty effectively done in terms of using the concept of mirrors for a supernatural horror film. And I was looking forward to this one, given that Alexander Aja, who just finished making The Hills Have Eyes, which was a great remake, was making this one. Unfortunately, though, it really just doesn't work as a whole, and it just ends up being a huge mess, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's been so long since I've seen it. The only thing I remember that movie is the Amy Smart death.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I remember from that movie.
Yeah, I think that's probably the only thing anyone remembers from it. So you're definitely not alone in that regard, Chad.
And Marcy, just I have literally not seen Wicker Man. I know I haven't seen it. I don't think I want to, but
Oh, you want to? I should clarify. It's not a good remake of where it's remaking a classic film. So it fails on those. It fails on what it's trying to do, but it is immensely entertaining for all the wrong reasons, which is why I do recommend people watch it because it is insane. But at the end of the day, it's not a good movie. It's not a good remake at all. It's whatever it wants to be, I think, is the best way to put it.
Bede, have you seen it?
Yes, I've seen it multiple times, mainly because my man Nicolas Cage is in it, and it
I
is
mean,
not a
we've watched
good.
it together many times.
Exactly. It's definitely not a good remake at all, but it has some unintentional hilarity that makes it pretty hilarious to watch.
And I might add, I have seen Mirrors, and I didn't hate Mirrors. So
I just don't
for your
remember the
pick,
movie outside of the death, but um so mine was Pet Cemetery. Honestly, the first one wasn't great. I thought the acting was kind of poor outside of Judd. Um this one, it's like John Lithgow was great. John Lithgow was awesome as he always is. It's just I just couldn't get into it. I thought they just took too much. They tried too much different things. The twist with Gage not dying, then Ellie dying instead, and then him being a dad. It just felt really weird, and it's very forgettable movie.
yeah, I would say that the Pet Cemetery remake is more a forgettable movie. They do make changes, and I think, like, I don't mind there being changes, but I just don't think it really worked. That being said, there are worse Stephen King remakes for me.
Yeah. Beat anything on Pet Cemetery?
I mean, I didn't hate it as much as other people. Like, it is okay. I didn't mind the changes either. I thought it was okay. It's something to kind of give us something that was different and interesting. But it's one of those movies, like, you watch it and you think, oh yeah, this is not too bad. But when you kind of walk away from it and sort of you just don't really think about it as much. So it doesn't have at least kind of the staying power as the original does.
All right, so let's move on to our number 9 movie. You got those ready?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, show them. Carrie and Day of the Dead. Which Day of the Dead?
Bloodlines, the most recent one.
Okay. So, Marcey, talk about yours.
So the Carrie remake, speaking of Stephen King remakes that I think are worse than Pet Cemetery. I've seen this movie a couple of times, but it never works for me. There's no real connection to things that happened, the characters, and I think even the performances are just not that great. I think people try, but it doesn't work. I feel like the miniseries remake does a much better job of like telling the story, and making it like believable. Whereas I just did not buy a lot of things in this film.
I think the only thing that they made wrong is like Chloe Grace Moretz is. I think she's a great actress. I really do. It's just I don't think that role was for her. I think
No.
ruined it. Sissy Spacek was excellent, but I kind of with you on Chloe. I'm with it on Chloe. Just doesn't fit it. That's why I think it hurt it for me. And Julianne Moore, I think it was just way too over the top.
It's just something that I feel like it just fails at what it's meant to be doing, and I just don't like it.
So I'll go with mine, Firestarter. Do you guys even remember this movie?
We have
We
a
did
Stephen
talk about
King
it.
podcast, so yes.
Yeah, we have talked about it on the King Zone podcast. Yes,
We've talked about the original
Yes.
and the remake.
So the original, obviously, David Keith, Drew Barrymore, excellent. You know, it wasn't excellent, but it was passable. It was a passable movie. But then this one, Charlie was just bland as all hell. I didn't want to root for her. And I just think the story was just bad. You know, they changed the DSI agent to Gloria Rubin. I just couldn't do it. And Zac Efron just didn't work for me at all. But
Yeah.
this one's very forgettable. But there's a
Yeah,
lot more
and
worse than this.
it is not a good Stephen King remake. Look, Firestarter isn't one of my favorites, like the original. Like, I think it's a watchable and good movie with some really strong performances, but it's painful to watch this film.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
think
have
with
not
this,
seen it since it came out.
yeah, I think with this one though, it's like I think the first half is pretty decent because it gives us a bit more sort of development of Charlie with her dad and also her mum, since she was pretty shortchanged in the original. But then after that sort of first 30 minutes, it kind of just rushes through the rest of the story, and you can obviously tell, given that this one has a smaller budget, it definitely looks a lot more cheaper as well. And I think Zac Efron is fine in the movie. I think he did the best that he can with the material. But yeah, I think it's just not really supported by a strong script or filmmaking.
Yeah. So talk about Day of the Dead Bloodlines.
Well, I mean, it does try to do some interesting things with the plot of Day of the Dead by essentially making it into almost like a stalker zombie film. So it's like Sleeping with the Enemy, but with zombies. But yeah, it kind of just doesn't really work. And Jonathan Sheck as a zombie, like he gives it his all, so I give him credit for that. But yeah, it's just I see what they're trying to do, but compared to the other remake that was made in the 2000s, yeah, this one just doesn't really work.
I've actually haven't seen it.
I've just heard about it. I haven't seen it.
All right, you ready for number 8?
Yes.
All right, 1, 2, 3, show them. Firestarter and Bede, what's that say?
The Sweet Blood of Jesus.
Oh God. Okay.
What the heck is that? I don't know.
Start with that.
Well, The Sweet Blood of Jesus is actually a Spike Lee joint. So it's a Spike Lee film that's a remake of the 70s horror film Ganja and Hess. So now Ganja and Hess is a fantastic film. So Spike Lee wanted to do a modern remake of it. And it pretty much kind of sticks close to the original, but unfortunately the execution of it, it's laughably bad. It's very cheap. It's funny though, because I think I watched this first before I saw the original, and the original is such a unique vampire tale, telling it from a black perspective. But unfortunately, I mean, Spike Lee's intentions are good, but yeah, this movie just did not work, and he just kind of wasn't able to modernize it in a way that made it compelling to the original.
I did not know that such a remake even existed. So there you go.
No.
Yeah, I think a lot of people try to remember. Don't want to remember this movie actually existed. Although Spike Lee definitely wants us to.
What year did it come out?
The early 2010s, I believe.
So obviously it wasn't a mainstream release.
Oh no, it's like I think Spike Lee actually did this movie through Kickstarter, I believe.
Oh.
That's weird from him.
Oh, actually, yes, because it says here it was the first of Lee's films to be funded through Kickstarter.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Marcey, we missed it by 1.
Yeah, I don't think there's nothing else I need to say about that movie. I did not like it. It was painful to sit through. That's why it's made my list.
So I was the 2020. I don't know. They got made in 2020, released in 2023. I don't know exactly the thing, but this is bad.
It's awful. It's really bad. Like,
I mean,
I thought
the
the
original Children of the
sci-fi
Corn wasn't that
film,
good either.
I mean, it's not great, but I love the original Children of the Corn. But even this one makes the 2009 like sci-fi version, like it makes it
Forgot
look
about
like
that.
a masterpiece. Like
Forgot
this
about
one
that one.
is that bad. No, that one is better than this. This one is so bad. I hate this movie. I'm getting it out now because then I don't need to do it later.
Oh, it's
Well,
on,
I mean,
okay.
yeah, well, I'm kind of like the opposite. Like, even though the Sci-Fi Channel remake it sticks closer to the original story, but compared to that into this one, at least things actually happen in this one, and it's not like just two people arguing for like an hour. So I mean,
I
yeah,
found
this
that
one
a lot more bearable than this.
I'm completely opposite, but
Yeah,
but
you're
this
terrible,
one though,
it's fine.
yeah, I mean, this one doesn't work. I mean, it has some moments that I found interesting, like the main villain, the little girl whose name I keep forgetting at the
Eden?
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eden. She's great. I think she understood the assignment, and she
She knew
definitely.
that this movie was going to be a piece of shit, so she decided to have fun.
Yeah,
She was like a mixture of Malachi and who was the
Isaac?
redhead in the original?
Isaac.
Oh,
Isaac.
that's Malachi.
She was a mix of both.
Yeah.
So you're right. She knew what to do. She was the bright spot of the movie, but it doesn't help with how shitty it was. Like the lead actress. Oh, that was just. It was just awful. It was an awful movie.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to number 7. Bede, you ready?
Yep.
All right. Show them. Omen and
Lake
Lake
of Death.
of the
A Lake of Death.
Okay. Lake of Death. What is that?
It Lake of Death is a Shudder original film from 2019, and it's a remake of a Swedish film from 1958. Now, I actually saw both these movies on the same day for 31 Days of Horror last year because I did them as a back-to-back pairing. The original film, which is titled Lake of the Dead, is actually a really cool, very haunting sort of folk horror film about these group of people who go to this cabin by the lake, and the lake is haunted by this spirit. But it's really compelling, and it just really gets under your skin, and it has some really interesting elements in it. But the film that remade it, Lake of Death, it kind of switches it from adult characters to teen characters, and it kind of just goes through all the stock kind of cliches of a lot of sort of teen-centric horror films. But yeah, even the way how it sort of presents the horror, it just comes across as really hokey and unintentionally hilarious. And yeah, kind of going from the whiplash, because I think the first film, the original, was like a 4-star movie. This was, watching it right afterwards, was immediately a 1-star movie.
Oh, I can already see Bede's going. He's going
Obscure.
down the. He's going down
He's
the
so
road
obscure.
Yeah. So, Marcy, it's up to us to get this going. I'll talk about Grudge real quick. So, I don't think this needed a remake. What else are you going to tell a story? I mean, we saw it in the Japanese version, we saw it in the American version. Why remake the same thing? And it's confusing as hell because there's 3 different timelines going on at the same time.
Well, I think
It doesn't make any sense.
So this is the one from a few years ago, right? That Grudge.
Yeah,
But
before
it's funny.
Before
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah, that one was weird because it presents itself as more of a sequel than a remake, just with the same title, because it is set in the same universe as the Sarah Michelle Gellar one. Yeah, that one I give the credit for taking a very interesting direction by being kind of a partial remake, but kind of being more of a sequel. But yeah, I think it just doesn't work, and it's a shame because there's a lot of talent in that film, both in front and behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's probably why they ranked it so lower or higher. Because it's somewhat a sequel, but it is, I want to say it's just a remake, just on a different side.
Yeah.
A different side of the story, but it's still a remake. The Omen, that is not on my list. Honestly, because I don't remember. I remember seeing it. I don't remember anything about it. So.
Yeah, I haven't seen that Grudge film, so I have no idea. Yeah, just given the talent that was with this film, and then watching it, I really hated it. For me, it just didn't work, and as good as the casting I thought was solid, but they just didn't suit it at all. I genuinely just felt angry watching this. I'm like, what is the point? This is just not good. If I want a remake of The Omen, I'll watch the South Park episode with Damien.
Yeah. I mean, it's got Liev Schreiber and Julia
Stiles.
Mm-hmm.
As a married couple, right? I don't see them together. How was it? I can't remember. Is their chemistry good?
No.
Not that I remember, but
I don't believe it was from memory.
Here. Because I like him.
Yeah, well, for me, I didn't mind the remake, but at the same time, it is kind of unnecessary because they pretty much use the exact same script of the original based on what I remember, because the original writer is also credited with this one. Of course, they changed a few things here and there to kind of set it in modern times. So, but for me, I guess, yeah, it feels kind of just lazy. I mean, if you're going to do a remake of a film, definitely take your own unique approach and not just use the exact same script. again and expecting like better results because it just doesn't quite work. I mean, the cast try to do the best what they're given, and again, like your pick, Chad, with the Grudge remake, there's a lot of talent in front of it, but yeah, they're just not really given much to do.
Oh, when you're talking about taking the same script, we have some coming up on my list that we'll be getting to that. But let's go to number 6.
Yep.
All right. Show them. Stepfather.
Black Christmas 2019.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, Bede, we're gonna fight. Okay, I'll start off with Cabin Fever.
Sorry, I'm not a big fan of the Black Christmas 2000 remake though, but it's not on my list.
Yeah,
and I haven't seen that Cabin Fever remake, so.
Yeah, actually, you have. It's the original.
I saw the original.
This is exactly.
I don't need to see that.
This is honestly, this came out of nowhere. Like nobody knew. I remember when this came out. People were like, "What the fuck? Why did you remake this?" Because there's like 3 sequels, and I think a sequel came out a few years before this got released.
I think in like a year or two. I think.
Yeah. So I mean, they kept the original story going. But then they do this, and it's like the most unlikable actors. Like, I want you all to die. Like, just die. Like, there's no like writer strong in it that made it like interesting. It was a horrible remake, and it was just a cash grab, which I don't think it made literally any money. But this was awful.
Yeah, that one is like the Omen remake. It uses the same script. I think it even uses the exact same dialogue, and again, it's like, what's the point? Feels like they just made it just so they could keep the rights and all that. So,
Bede, before you talk about yours, I didn't put that on my list because I don't see it as a remake like the original. I just see it just a movie with the same name.
Well, I mean that is true, but at the same time, there's definitely a lot of homages to the original. But I think now I'm not going to go on some kind of tirade saying like, "Oh, this movie hates men," blah blah blah, because I think that whole thing is kind of bullshit. But watching this film, though, it really just makes all the characters unlikable, even the characters you're supposed to sympathize with. And like, there's definitely a good story in there about how women are treated by men in society. But it just comes across as really condescending, and also just it feels like a movie that does, like, the original film is a very feminist film, which a lot of people will be surprised by, but it really takes a interesting subtle approach to it. But this one just really hammers it into the point where it's not subtle, and sometimes that can work, but here it doesn't. But also it kind of contradicts itself where it goes in the third act. And I don't agree with the people who basically say it's a man-hating film, but I think as a remake on its own, it just doesn't work. And also it's just really, I mean, Imogen Poots is good at it, and she's always a great actress, but her character's like the only sympathetic character. And surprisingly, like, given what happens in the movie, her friends are actually quite terrible to her as well. So, yeah, it's just
and you got Carrie Elways changing his accent throughout the whole movie.
Exactly. So
I haven't seen it, so
it's not a good movie.
Marcey's Stepfather.
Yeah, it's a movie.
I actually like it.
No, sorry. It's one I just didn't like. Nothing at all connected with me in this film.
Was it because of Dylan? Because Terry Quinn's the original, but this is Dylan Walsh. But Terry Quinn's awesome.
I mean, yeah, he fits the role, and like, again, I don't have a problem with remakes, but like, again, we had a pretty like solid cast. Like, Dylan Walsh, I think, is a decent option, but for me, nothing about it just works. And I felt Where the original for me is compelling, this one I just found to be so annoying, and I kind of just wanted it to be over.
That
So
came out in
I'm not a fan of the Stepfather remake at all.
that came out like in the early 2000s during the whole remake phase, right?
Oh, I think around the
Uh,
late 2009, I believe.
2009. So
So that was like when they did a lot of CW, like
Yeah,
CW-ish
it.
remakes.
I think with this one though, what makes it really not work is it feels too polished and too safe, as because it
Yeah.
was shot for a PG-13 in the US, and I'm again not one of those people who gets horror movies need to be R-rated. I think every horror movie, depending on the kind of like content it's going for, can go for whatever rating it wants. But I think in this case, though, it needed to have that R rating so it could be a bit more darker. And it just felt like an episode of a CW TV show.
yeah, a
at
lot
the
of them
time.
kind of felt like that, but it was a chore to get through for me.
I actually don't mind it. All right, let's move to number 5.
I'm gonna find what my number 5 is.
Prom Night 2008. The Fog 2005. One Missed Call. I've seen One Missed Call. I just do not remember it.
I've not seen
What?
the remake. I saw the original.
The original is a pretty solid movie. It's definitely one of Takashi Miike's more straightforward horror films.
Definitely.
And there's definitely made on the back of like a Ringu and all that in terms of mixing modern technology with the supernatural. So obviously once the original Ring remake came out and that was successful, every Asian horror film, especially from Japan, was being remade. And One Missed Call, I believe, was kind of like the final nail in the coffin of that, because this film kind of took the concept and just badly executed it to the point where it's just an absolute mess. And I think they didn't even have a premiere for this movie, and I think they didn't even do any critic screenings. They just threw it out to the world and just had hoped that everyone would have forgotten it. So, yeah.
I remember I saw it in theaters, and it was a pretty packed theater because obviously during that time horror movies were like everywhere, releasing like every week, and I just heard people like, no, they're literally talking to the characters like how stupid they were. That's literally like the highlight of the movie was the people in the thing.
Yes.
So mine was Prom Night 2008. The thing that drives me crazy on this is the original Prom Night it's a whodunit movie. It's like you're trying to guess who the killer is. Then this one they do it right off the bat. Like they tell you who the killer is. Some obsessed stalker or teacher. I can't remember what it was.
Played by Jonathan Schick.
Yes. He knows his roles.
He's been on 2 of this list, basically playing the same role.
And I mean, then you got Idris Elba walking around being the cop, and I don't know. This is a standard CW horror movie. This was teenage.
This was
Bob.
the other one I was thinking. As we're just discussing the Stepfather, I was thinking, yeah, Prom Night was also kind of like that.
Yeah, it's not worth, and it's not even that gory. It's so toned down. It's not fun because this original, you're guessing who the killer is. You're seeing creative deaths. This one's like, oh, just slice, and that's it. And not everyone dies either. I think there's like 3 deaths in the movie.
And also, it has a lampshade scare.
It does. It does. Marcey, The Fog.
Again, I feel like all of mine are just, this was boring. Again,
boring.
Decent, like cast and all that, but like, if you're gonna remake The Fog, do something. This is just, again, it's boring, it's bland, it's a chore to sit through. The actors, I almost feel like they're sleeping through it. Like, nothing about this for me was remotely good. It's a poorly done movie, remake or not. It's just not good. It's again, it's a disappointment. Like going into something like a remake, I think yeah, it's probably going to be average, but like these ones for me were just not good. They're what the fuck are they doing kind of movies for me. So
All right, let's go to number 4.
Well, I don't have to say
One.
much on this one because I've already said my piece on it. Cabin Fever.
Cabin Fever, The Mummy. I got House of Wax. Let's talk about The Mummy.
it's boring. It was a disappointment.
Jesus.
It destroyed their dark universe completely. It's a mummy movie. Why the fuck is this boring? Why is this so hard to sit through? Why? The end.
Because they were trying to make a cinematic universe right off the bat, and it just did not work. And that being said, though, Russell Crowe
worked.
That being said, though, Russell Crowe is having the time of his life in that movie, so I can't.
Oh, he was
for cashing in that check for this movie.
I'm sure he was
the check, but that was it.
He was heartbroken that they wouldn't continue this because I'm sure he was going to be like hamming it up for Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Bede, do you have your little thing with? You already talked about it with mine, but what's your Cabin Fever?
It is it's an unnecessary remake that just uses the same script and offers nothing different.
Yeah. All right. So House of Wax 2005. This movie was almost 2 hours long. 2 hours for a horror movie. That's way too long. Especially when it's like rinse, recycle, repeat throughout the whole movie. It's the same thing the whole entire movie. The highlight was supernatural guy gets his face cut off. I can't think who his name is.
I think it's Vincent because obviously named after Vincent Price.
No. The supernatural when he gets in the
Jared Padalecki. Yes.
yes. That was the highlight. Plus Paris Hilton's death. You know, obviously they just cast her for money, and it didn't work. But this movie was bad. I mean, it's a very simple concept, but I think they just went too over the top with it. And then the surviving characters, a brother and sister who did not seem more like a romantic interest than brother sister,
which had Michael Murray.
That's my opinion. I thought they seemed more of boyfriend girlfriend than brother sister. But
definitely,
yeah. Marcey, have you seen House of Wax?
I don't mind House of Wax. I don't think it's great by any means. For me, it's one of those watchable, just like the fuck is this kind of movie. So it did not. It was nowhere. It was not gonna. It wasn't making this list. I don't hate it that much.
Yeah, it did make my list, but it's definitely one of my least favorite ones, mainly because it takes way too long to get going. It's cliched. I mean, it has some cool elements like cool production design and cool kills and a killer, but yeah,
what lets it down is being like having boring bits, but also just being a bit too long.
Yeah, that, and also I think it takes itself way too seriously at times. Some of the violence comes off as rather mean-spirited, and also the characters are just not likable at all.
No. And that's a shame because I do like the cast. I did like the cast.
Again, it's got a pretty decent cast.
Yeah.
Without Paris Hilton, because no one really cared about her at the time. They
tried
to make people care about her by putting her in things.
No. All right, number 3. Let's see if we can match up with anything.
I don't think we will.
It's not mine. All right, Marcey, we talked about Children of the Corn.
Yep.
What's your quick opinion on it?
It fucking sucks. I hate it. Burn in hell, you stupid movie. Done.
Bede?
Yes, mine was the It's Alive remake. Yes, that movie was remade in the 2000s.
I'm like, that was remade? What? When was it remade?
It was remade. Actually, I think it was remade in the late 2010s. Let me just find out for sure.
Really?
Because
That's interesting.
Yeah,
All right,
I had no idea.
well, while
honestly.
you're looking that
okay,
up,
I
I'll
found
talk
it.
about the
Yeah.
fog.
Okay,
Oh,
talk
you
about the
found
fog.
it?
Yeah. Oh, no,
Okay.
go ahead. You go ahead.
So I'm 100% with Marcy. This is a rather boring movie. And the ending was completely came out of left field with Maggie Grace's character. It literally, like, why? Like, the original did nothing stupid like this. They just wanted the gold. This one's just stupid. And I thought it's so boring.
It's so
Like,
boring.
you don't have like a Jamie Lee Curtis, you don't have an Adrian Barbeau in the movie that you likable, that you're rooting for in this movie. You don't have that. I mean, Selma Blair does a pretty decent job, but her alone can't save this. This
Yeah,
is a horrible remake.
she's probably more like the best aspect of it.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's so bad.
All right, Bede, you can go back.
Yeah, well, It's Alive was remade in 2009, but it was a film that ended up going straight to video. So that kind of shows the quality of it there. Now, as we all know, the original is a really great horror film. It has a great opening where this woman gives birth, and then it's a monster baby. It kills everyone the in the in the hospital room, and it's a mutant baby. Unfortunately, the baby in this version is not a mutant baby. It's just a regular looking baby that just wants blood. But yet at the same time, it still manages to kill all the doctors and nurses in the in the in the in the maternity ward. But yeah, it's really cheap. It's really badly made. It stars Bijou Phillips in the lead role, and she tries, but it just doesn't work. It's not a good movie at all. And even Larry Cohen thinks it's a terrible movie. So
All right. So we're down to number 2. We've been close on a few. Let's see. We got these last 2. I think we are going to have at least one movie in these next 1 or 2. But that's what's number 2. Oh, yes, Marcy. The Vanishing. Wait, the 1990s movie?
yes.
I mean,
with Jeff Daniels?
Yes.
Or Bridges?
I still think
Jeff
that's
Bridges,
slightly better than my list. That movie. It's not good. These ones are worse, I think.
Yeah, well, the original film of The Vanishing that came out
masterpiece.
it's a masterpiece, or Spoilos, as it's also known as, came out in 1988. Great movie. The same director behind that was hired to direct the US remake of it. Again, having a great cast. You got Jeff Bridges, Kiefer Sutherland, Nancy Travis, and a very young Sandra Bullock. The thing is, though, the original film is such a haunting film, and it has one of the most haunting endings ever in a film. But the thing is, the movie does replicate that ending, but it continues for another half hour after that, and it is just it just feels way too safe. And also, what's also great, because in the original film, the killer in that film, the actor who plays him, he plays him such a
He's
normal
so
guy.
fucking terrifying because he's just a normal dude.
Yeah, and there's nothing scary about it. But Jeff Bridges in this movie,
No, he's terrifying.
he makes him seem terrifying. Like, every scene you think like, oh, how can anyone not think this dude is a serial killer? He looks and acts like a serial killer.
Yeah, I mean, in the movie, the guy is terrifying because he looks like your next door neighbor who couldn't possibly do anything.
Yeah. And it's just really bad. It's a bad remake. I mean, I haven't seen it since I first watched it back in the 2010s. Maybe it might be at least a little bit more bearable on the second viewing, but yeah, I remember just like thinking like, this is awful.
Now, before we continue, do you guys ever watch like the original and the remake like back to back?
I mean, I talked about that with Lake of the Dead and Lake of Death earlier, so yes.
Do you do it? Would you do it for the
normally.
Vanishing?
No, I didn't. I think I saw the original first, and then a few years later watched the remake.
Marcy, we were right on. Psycho, 1998, the shot-for-shot remake with Vince Vaughn as Norman Bates, which one right there. That's terrible casting right there. Vince Vaughn did not fit the role.
None of the cast actually, I think, fits anything. I think they probably
I think Julianne
were
Moore
okay
does.
with. Yeah, I was about to say Julianne Moore. I think might be the only one, but it is so horrible. It is shot for shot, but it could not be worse. I mean, it probably could have, but
Mhm.
this is what you call a waste of fucking time.
Yeah.
It's terrible. I don't want to watch this movie ever. I hate it.
I just
No,
find it
just
strange that
It's
this was the.
stupid.
I mean, the thing is, I find it strange that Gus Van Sant picked this as his first project post Goodwill Hunting, and
I think he did
also,
a lot of drugs.
well, the thing is, though, he could have just done a straightforward adaptation of the book, because the book, from what I've heard, is very
It's quite
different from
different.
the
Yeah.
movie. Yeah, but instead, he just wanted to do a remake of the Alfred Hitchcock version and not of the book.
It's proof that you can do a shot-for-shot remake, but it doesn't mean it's going to be the same movie with the same
the studio probably
level of
paid him a lot of money
greatness.
too.
Most likely, yes.
Mm.
And he's like, okay, I don't have to, I'll just use the exact same script as the first one and just do exactly the same thing and rake in my money.
That's so bad.
Like, and I just don't. Vince Vaughn's the killer point there. He just was not a Norman Bates type.
He
Like
wasn't at all.
he wasn't even an. I don't want to say he wasn't a name, but he just didn't. I just don't. I just didn't think he was the. He was definitely not the right choice.
No.
And Anne Heche, I think she was okay. Okay, as Marilyn Crane.
Okay-ish, yeah. But again,
it's just
she wasn't suited for that role.
no. All right, so we had our first match. Bede, you gotta get with us. Get with us.
I don't think
We
I'm
might
going to, guys. I don't think I'm going to with my
wait a
number
second.
one
If you
pick.
okay, all right, ready?
Yes.
Show it. Wait, the Homecoming.
Silent Night, Bloody Night, The Homecoming.
Explain.
I only just watched this film last Christmas. And it is a remake of the early 70s horror film Silent Night, Bloody Night. Made by the same people who...
Okay.
Yes. So it is, despite the subtitle, it making it think it's a sequel, it is an actual remake. But set in Britain this time rather than America. And it's made by the same makers behind the Night of the Living Dead British remake, Night of the Living Dead, I believe Resurrection, I think it was called. I could be wrong, so forgive me for that title if that's not the right one. But yeah, so they decided to make a remake of this one. Yeah, and this, I mean, the original is okay-ish. A lot of interesting ideas, but doesn't quite work. But this one, yeah, this one is way too serious. It's cheap. It is an ugly film. It is poorly acted and written and filmed. It is just an absolute chore to watch from beginning to end. And I gave this film a rare half star on Letterboxd. That's how much of a terrible remake it actually is. And the fact that it's a more recent one that I've watched kind of has to say everything that I put it over all the other ones that I mentioned.
I mean, yours was so obscure, and I feel like mine, or maybe even with Chad, is a lot more like mainstream of a list.
Yeah.
Mm. I watch
I mean,
a lot of movies.
okay.
What can I say? But it's good though. Like your list, definitely what I would say would align with a lot of people out there for sure. And
I'm
but
sure
yeah,
someone will disagree with something we've said, but
yeah.
I think it's no surprise to people who have known me what horror remake I hate the most, and it's gonna take the biggest piece of shit to ever take its place, but the Nightmare on Elm Street remake actually makes me physically ill because it's so shit. It's casted so wrong, despite the fact everyone in it is really talented. You had a great option with Freddie, but the look just doesn't feel right. And I'm not asking for a repeat of Robert Englund. I want something different, but this isn't it. And then we're adding in the stupidest shit like micro sleeps while you're swimming to get a Freddy. Like, fuck off. This is so stupid. It is ridiculously fucking stupid. I think it's Katie Cassidy, I think, is the only person who shows something in this film, and she was in the wrong role.
Yeah.
And I credit Cole Gallner because he's a great actor, but I feel like he really struggled with what he was given as well. It's a piece of shit. Why the fuck is this a Nightmare on Elm Street remake? Go fuck yourself, movie. You are shit. You've ruined it all. Everyone in this film absolutely deserved better, from Clancy Brown to Rooney Mara.
And Connie Britton,
So
don't forget she's in that movie too, Marcy.
I know. I said two people because I said from to blur. So everyone
okay.
deserved better.
I grew up Freddie. Freddie was
Mhm.
my boy. You know, I loved Freddie growing up.
Freddie is
Uh,
still my boy. He's also my dog.
So this movie, I was very excited. I watched it and I'm like, huh, did they really change the lore of Freddie and making him a child molester? I'm like, fuck you.
I mean, to be fair though, he originally was supposed to be in the early
Supposed
change.
to. Yes,
Yeah,
Wes
but
Craven did
then
say
it
that,
was
but they changed
yeah,
it.
yeah.
But that wasn't public. It was never in the movie. So now
Yes.
it's technically, but they did say, oh no, he didn't. But throughout the first half of the movie, Katie Cassidy was the lead. She was the lead role. And then she dies, and then Rooney Mara, who looked like she was bored out of her mind, she showed no emotion. They did have a cool scene in the store, which I love, where where they did it between a store and the boiler room. I thought that was fantastic. I thought that was awesome. That was awesome. It's just, this movie is just absolutely trash. Jackie Earl, serviceable. I'm not saying he was terrible. He did what he could. He's not Robert Englund. He did the Christian Bale Batman voice bullshit. It's just, it pains me that this is number one for me, because I love Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, me too.
And it's just, ugh.
And the thing is, like with you, Nightmare on Elm Street is like, I love it so much. It is my franchise. My two horror franchises that I've seen the most, I love the most. It's a Nightmare on Elm Street and it's Saw. But like, and I was, excited at the time because I thought, oh, this casting is really something interesting, and and we had the Friday the 13th remake was out before this. It was
Yeah,
a year or two, I can't remember now, but
I
like,
think a year.
yeah, and I am not as connected to the Friday the 13th film franchise as other people on this show right now, Bede. But I thought that remake did what I want out of a remake, and it had fun with it as well. It's got a lot of like that late 2000s-ish, like having a mean spirit, but it didn't take itself overly seriously. And it kind of made, like, how it's sort of like remaking the first three movies in a way, but how it did it, for me, it didn't feel overly rushed, and it knew like what people are going to want, and it worked for me really well. Whereas this, it's just like, okay, you're all taking a big dump on A Nightmare on Elm Street and its fans. And again, I'm not someone who needs a remake to be exactly what the original is. See choice number 2. But this is not it. I hate this movie. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Go and burn in your boiler room, fucking movie. Pardon me.
All right. So I tallied up the scores, and we got the top 3. And number 3 is 2005's The Fog,
It deserves
14 points. That was very Children of the Corn and Cabin Fever were very close. So
it.
we only had 5 movies matched up between the 3 of us, which first
Yeah.
game, it's okay.
I'm surprised.
Bede went deep. He went deep.
Mm.
Number 2, obviously, Psycho with 18 points.
It deserves it.
It does. And number 3, or number
Yep.
1, of course, Nightmare on Elm Street.
It has to be there.
And I didn't contribute any points to these top 3.
No, I'm
How
very
was
surprised.
this not in your list, Bede? It is a terrible movie.
Yeah,
I think there are worse ones. There are worse ones that made me more angry.
Ooh.
It's like
Get out!
I mean, the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise is like what the Friday, I mean, I like the Nightmare on Elm Street films. I enjoy those movies, but but I'm more of a fan of Friday the 13th. So the remake, I saw it, and I'm like, yeah. And then I moved on with
There's
my
the
life.
reason you're terrible. No, this is why civilization is collapsing. We got this shitty remake. It's been downhill since.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they're trying to do another one.
They always are.
I think they're trying to keep the rights.
I'm like right here. I could write it for you, people.
I think, from what I remember, I think Wes Craven's family has the rights now. So, and they're looking.
Do they have
Wes
the
Craven's
distribution
family.
rights?
I don't know if they
Okay.
have the distribution rights, but I know that, of course, since it's been so long since there was a Nightmare on Elm Street film made, I think the rights reverted back to Wes Craven's family. And I think
Wes
they want to
Craven's
definitely.
family, I can write a great movie.
And also, I mean, let's also too, like any remake of a Wes Craven movie, what the best ones were because Wes Craven himself was involved with them, i.e., the Hills Have Eyes remake.
The
That's a
2006?
fantastic movie. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
What did Wes Craven do on that? He produced it, right?
Yeah, he produced it, yes.
Damn right, the movie was great.
Exactly.
That could be on the best of remakes list.
Ooh, future list.
100%. 100%.
Oh, it's you'll definitely see it from
Definitely. But that was the ranked. So what's your opinion before we end it? What do you guys' opinion on horror remakes?
I'm like, I guess for me, like I'm back in the 2000s when it was like the popular thing was remaking every horror movies. And I remember just like everyone just being outraged by every one of them. Like some of them, yeah, I can totally get, but I always took more of the wait and see approach. Like if it's good, great. And if it's not good, then, whatever, I could just move on with my life because the original's still there. But I'm always curious whenever a remake does pop up and whether filmmakers will do something interesting and unique, or will they just basically just do another carbon copy. Like it's interesting when certain movies do that. But I think as well, like, I mean, we still get the odd remake here and there, but I think it was kind of more prevalent in the 2000s.
It was because they were remaking a lot of the J-horror films, and doing sort of English language remakes, more so. Because don't forget, like, Hanaka, I probably messed it up, like remade his own movie with Funny Games.
Yes.
During that time as well.
Yeah.
For me, I have no issues with remakes in general. Like the foundation of cinema was remaking things. Go watch silent cinema from the very early days. You're going to see things remade in the same year. It's always going to happen. Chill with it. When I go into something that I know is a remake, because some remakes I've seen without the original, but going into it knowing the original, I want it to be something different, but still respect what came before it. And I will use an example like The Thing. The Thing is it is remaking something, but it is also, I guess, based on a story, but it does something with this concept that is really interesting. And again, we mentioned The Hills Have Eyes. It takes something, but it makes it's still quite different. And it does its own thing, but it doesn't disrespect like what came before it either. And it is a fine like balancing act, but you compare it to the films that we've all discussed, and even though I haven't seen some, it sounds like it. Like you're just doing it for the sake of it, and there's no effort. If you put in a proper effort and try to have purpose for why you're retelling the story, I think it has the chance to work. You can beat The Thing or The Hills Have Eyes over Psycho, the remake, or A Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake.
Well, I think a lot of the ones we've chosen on our list is movies that played it safe.
Mm.
They didn't really add anything new. I mean,
Mm.
obviously, Prom Night did add something new with the
It
stalker,
doesn't work.
and
Mm.
it just didn't work
Mm.
because the whole thing with Prom Night was to guess the killer. And
Mm.
then Tubi did that's the remake, right? The Tubi one.
Oh yeah, did
Tubi Terror Train?
yeah, To Be
Yeah.
Terror Train. But the thing is, though, the first film is a remake of well, obviously the original, but instead of around New Year's, it's set at Christmas. I mean, no, not Christmas, Halloween. So it's like, okay, makes sense. But then, like 2 months later, they released a sequel that's set at New Year's on the same train. And I've seen them both, so I know what I'm talking about.
And they didn't make the list, so they weren't that bad.
Well, well, the first one, it was like, I mean, there were definitely fun elements about it, but it was like, more on the kind of side. I'm not angry I watched this. It's just like, but because, it's like, But then again, you guys might feel differently if you ever see it, so.
Yeah. I just think a lot of ones we did, they just played it insanely safe, and they didn't take a chance. But that's also a negative. If they take a chance and it fails, you just ruined you ruin it. So I don't mind horror remakes if they're done well, if you got the right people. Maybe if you have the original filmmakers on it helping. Like Thompson, like Night of the Living Dead 1990. I like that movie. Tom Savini did it, and Tom Savini is a horror icon, makeup and in front of the screens. So, and I'm sure George A. Romero gave him his blessing. So that's the thing. You got to get the thing like Child's Play. None of us had Child's Play.
I don't think it's that bad, to be fair.
It's not, but it's kind of it kind of just does it modernizes it, made it modern.
It was more like, it's a modern-ish retelling, but I quite enjoyed it, the Child's Play remake.
Yeah,
I thought it was fun. I thought it was fun. Mark Hamill was fun, but so they just made it modern. But movies play it safe. They're not taking a chance, and remakes have died down as much as they did in the early 2000s, which was like every month a horror remake came out of classics. And I think the last true remake, God, I gotta think about that one.
Maybe Hellraiser-ish? I don't know if
I'd say Hellraiser.
Which was okay. It was okay.
I really enjoyed that.
It was hard to keep track of it, but it was okay. And that was just a Hulu original too, so that wasn't even a theater release. So
I think we also had lockdowns and stuff, maybe.
Yeah, I think it might have been they wanted to do a cinema release for that because, lockdowns and COVID and that, they just released it on streaming instead.
I mean, if I look it up, there's probably like way more that I just don't remember.
Yeah, I can't think of them, but they're nothing Japanese. They haven't done a Japanese remake. They're supposed to do Trains to Busan, but I'm interested in it, depending on who's the director.
I think
it had a good director from memory.
Yeah, Timo Tangiamo. I probably butchered his name. Who did The Night Comes for Us and
that's a good choice though.
Yeah, that's a really good choice, and he seems pretty passionate about it. But he's
Mhm.
busy with other projects at the moment, so it's
Mm.
definitely going to be. If it does get made, it probably be once the kind of the pieces fall together, or maybe it'll be a case of like they worked on it and it just doesn't end up happening. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see on that one.
I mean, a good example of like a remake that was, came decades after an original that did modernize it that I think just works fantastic is The Blob.
Mm.
Like, they're
Yeah,
definitely certain errors. I think they managed to remake films and kind of update them. Like, again, another great example is Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It's been remade so many times, but that 70s from the 50s version, it's incredible.
yeah, and they did Rosemary's Baby, a TV show
Yeah, they
too.
did. Yeah,
So that was a soft. That was a soft remake. I don't think it was a full remake because the TV
Yeah.
series kind of makes it different.
Yeah.
So remakes are okay as long as it's not a cash grab. 90s,
Mm.
2000s was all cash grabs.
It
100%
was a
cash
lot
grabs.
were definitely for cash grabs, 100%.
Yeah, like the people that the ones we named, the 2000s. I guarantee you, none of those people have watched the original.
Mm.
They were for the CW crowd.
Yeah.
That's why they were
Mm.
PG-13s, Prom Night, House of Wax. I don't think House of Wax was PG. PG-13. I mean, but
Sure.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
But thank you for joining us for our first episode. Marcey, look at that, 3-time champion of a bloody good time.
Yes.
Where can people find you?
Yeah, head over to supermarcy.com and you can check out all of the podcasts that I happen to co-host with Bede here. And yeah, we've got the To Be Tuesdays, the King Zone, Podcasts of Horror, the Osbloit Cast, the Super Podcast. There's like so many. Just say To Be Tuesdays. Yeah, that's the weekly show.
Yes.
And I'm just Super Marcy on the social medias, but I'm super_Marcy on Letterboxd, and my list of these 10 movies is going public now.
And Bede.
Well, people want to find me personally out there on the internet. You can follow me on Twitter, Blue Sky, and Letterboxd under B Jamide. You can find all my work and all the awesome podcasts that Marcy and I co-host together on supermarcy.com and on all podcast streamers everywhere via the the Super Network podcast feed. And if you want to listen to my solo show, Beat vs. the Living Dead, and its little spin-off shows, you can listen to them on all podcast streamers everywhere via the Bede vs. the Living Dead podcast feed.
Thank you. And my name's Chad. You can find me on Facebook, Letterbox, same thing, Chad Zuver. Instagram, Bloody Good Time. I actually switched that over for my personal. I'm getting it more into there. Twitter, I will never say because it's a troll account. I will not say my Twitter account name. It is a professional troll account. But check me on Facebook. Definitely check A Bloody Good Time on Facebook. Definitely like, subscribe, hit the bell for A Bloody Good Time on YouTube. Catch all of our live streams. We have many different things coming up. We have Friday 13th themed episode, which Marcy's sitting out. She's going to keep score. Bede's playing, and it's all Friday 13th. And in July, Bede's going to host a Night of Living Dead themed.
Yes.
Which I'm very curious on what you're going to come up with on that. I really am.
Yeah,
am I playing in that, right?
I mean, of course. I mean, you have directed your own remake of Night of the Living Dead, so it only makes sense that you need to be on this one.
Oh, God. And it's the original, or is it all the remakes? Because if it's all the remakes, we be fucked.
Ooh, that is a good question. We'll just have to wait and see. Maybe it might involve Romero's
Bede's
other
going to
Living
decide,
Dead
isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I could come up with just all games just centered on the original film. You'll just have to wait and see.
Well, maybe someone needs to host a game where me and Chad battle it out to see who's the supreme Freddy fan.
Ooh, that's
a Nightmare themed?
Yes, Nightmare on Elm Street.
We could.
Just no remake.
I do like this
idea.
idea.
It's still Freddy.
I don't include it.
All right. obviously Bede will have to host that one, and he's gonna have to put everything together. So,
Yeah.
but thank you guys so much. Please definitely check out the live streams coming up. We have a lot of cool things coming up, and June 9th, we actually have a special guest on a show. We have the director of the upcoming movie. Oh, actually, yeah, upcoming movie, The Ritual, the release in theaters June 6th. David Medell. It's got Ritual's got Al Pacino and Marcey. Who else is in that? Who else?
Who is the other person in that movie?
Yeah, the one you were like, oh, we
Oh,
need to get him on the show.
yeah, no, it's Dan
What's
Stevens.
his? Dan Stevens, the great Dan Stevens,
The great Dan
and
Stevens.
Ashley Greene is in it from Twilight for the Twilight fans, and Patricia Heaton's in it.
Mm.
So that's a pretty good cast. Very excited to see it. I'll definitely see it, but I'll be hosting that. Maybe hosting that show. It's too early to tell right now, but definitely June 9th. Definitely check out that with David Medell and the pod. Oh, I am so sorry. Who was the podcast I have in there? I am terribly sorry if you're watching. I just have so much like scheduled. Projection Booth and the Horror Movie Night podcast. They're both going to be on that same show. So it's going to be a very exciting episode. I think it's going to be our most fun episode. It's number 10. 10. So, but thank you guys so much. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you want us to rank something else, definitely leave it in the comments. We'll take your suggestions. But peace.
See everyone. Bye.
Bye.